Clubhouse.
Jill, ask them what they think about supervillain.
That sounds better to me. More exciting.
Do you prefer saving America? How about saving the world?
Nope. It's saving America.
Welcome back to Podcast V. This is for the 5th episode of the 5th season of Amazon's The Boys. This one was called One Shots. This is Paul, and I'm here with my friend Kat.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. It's Monday as we record this. Went to a nostalgia con this past weekend with my kids, and I got to meet a few different voice actors that my daughter wanted to meet and I wanted to meet. And then we zipped back home, day of rest, and now here we are.
Well, I feel like the nostalgia con is fitting for this episode.
Yeah, good point. Exactly. Yes. Speaking of nostalgia, the people who came to this show because they were Supernatural fans have probably been waiting to get the extended cameos that took place in this episode. Both Jared Padalecki and Misha Collins from Supernatural made pretty memorable appearances in this episode. I thought it was kind of neat that they gave Misha Collins Mal Chemical. I don't know if that was intentional or what, but I think it's kind of neat.
I mean, I was wrong about my prediction about Bomb Site being Jared Padalecki, but he was in this episode as, former A-Train super. I forgot, do you know what his name was?
Mr. Marathon.
Mr. Marathon, yeah. But I didn't expect all the other cameos. They did sort of like a boys' version of like Ocean's 11 poker table thing.
Yeah, right. When they're teaching like, who is it, like Joshua Jackson and others how to play poker or make it look like they know how to play poker.
Yeah.
That's a great scene. So you get Seth Rogen, Will Forte, Kumail Nanjiani, and McLovin. I don't know McLovin's real name. It's Christopher something.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what is his name? That's probably a lot of people are in the same boat.
They just know McLovin.
Christopher Mintz-Plasse?
That's the guy. That's the guy, yes. Hyphenated last name.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I don't think I've ever known his name, to be honest. Sorry, Christopher.
Yeah, well, McLovin left a strong imprint on those of us that saw it. Yeah, so it's just one short segment. It comes up during Soldier Boy's One Shot, since this episode was kind of constructed as a short anthology setup, with the different named segments following around different point of view type characters. They were at Mr. Marathon's house to try to determine if he was legit. They milked, I guess, pun intended, Stan Edgar for information. Soldier Boy applied pressure via knowledge of Zoe's whereabouts, and that brought Stan around pretty quick.
At first, I wasn't sure if I liked the breakdown, the way they were doing this. I was confused at first because, oh, that's interesting. They, highlighted Firecracker and then, but then I got what they were doing throughout the episode. But then I realized, it was nice to get sort of the perspectives from that first meeting where they were having the marketing meeting and then breaking it down to, the little character, how each character goes from there. I guess they did it that way because we got so much information in each segment. And a lot of the questions I think we've had and some questions I didn't know I had were answered from each character, I think.
I feel like we got some good answers in this one. Obviously, we're going to talk about it in a minute, but yeah, the character deaths that took place at Mr. Marathons, they don't really count, but there is a more of a major character death that happens in one of the other segments. So you have that, you have Sage spilling the beans on her plot. Both teams now know about Bomb Site now. They just know the same starting point. So that's pretty significant. They don't know exactly where to look. And in that, I kind of think the boys might have an advantage.
Yeah, because it was what is it called? Mother Smoke was hit up, or it was Billy was telling him, right? We should do this.
Yeah, that's right,
Yeah, Legend. Is that what they called him?
Yes.
Yeah, it did. We'll segue too, but I really liked that boy segment, which was from Terror's point of view, the dog, which of course I love all things dog stuff. But yeah, but I think, taking it back to the Mr. Marathon house and what happened there, I feel like we got some insight to Soldier Boy and his relationship and how he feels about Homelander because they were a little dicey. even Homelander before they got there was like, why would I trust you? You just locked me up, and that thing, and sort of like how he takes out vengeance for what they did to him there, like Misha Collins' character kind of gasses him, and everything. But then, I don't know, I'm curious because I'm like, especially with what we learned from Sister Sage, which is what I kind of figured along, like if she's kind of like trying to play Homelander, if she's not necessarily on the side of Homelander. So I'm just like, is Soldier Boy actually, he had to kind of take all of them out because Homelander wasn't dead necessarily. So if he had betrayed him, he would have been hunting him. So I wonder if this is part of like a longer game. So I don't know if if you believe what he said to Homelander about why he killed everyone in the house.
I had the same question because it is kind of complicated. He presents kind of simply in the like, well, if anybody's going to kill my son, it's going to be me kind of thing.
Like, he's my weirdo, my asexual weirdo.
Yeah. Most fathers don't look at it that way.
Yeah. He's like, the only person who's going to fuck my son is me.
Yes. That was funny. But Sage later appeals to Back Ashley to try to read Soldier Boy's mind because she can't figure him out.
Mm-hmm. And same here.
Well, that says a lot. You're on the same wavelength as the smartest person in the world. So
yeah, I
don't know that we can take it at face value that he did it just because of some developing father-son bond. You were probably right. This wasn't going to take out Homelander, and this whole little side jaunt of theirs was never going to result in being able to directly. And they had betrayed Homelander, potentially putting Soldier Boy, like you said, on the map for, did he betray me as well? Because that's what happens.
Yeah. Although it would have been possible for him. Can he kill Homelander though? I forget.
No, I don't think so.
Like, can he like cut off his head, or he doesn't, or is he like? Is he not penetrable? I can't remember.
He doesn't really have control over when he uses his big chest pulse thing. Mm-hmm. And
he wouldn't be able to like twist his neck or something. Like, right.
Yeah, it's interesting how like a superpowered neck twist seems to work in most cases. It worked in the Man of Steel, and it worked on A-Train. It worked on Malchemical here. So would it work on Homelander? Only someone like Soldier Boy with his strength could find out, but it would be quite a tussle to get that close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was also like he probably knew he couldn't take him out either.
And I think the plot of needing to be on top of the V1 location is still
more important.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was this subtle thing, and we've noticed it before. We talked about it in the last episode of when Stormfront was brought up, Soldier Boy kind of gets really mushy, or there's something going on there where he's very like, I don't know, just there. We know that there's history there. And then in this case, when he was in the Mr. Marathon room where all the Vought stuff was, he saw a photo of her like in, back in her day. And like he was getting like a little emotional. And then he noticed that like Homelander was looking at him getting emotional, and he kind of like snaps out of it he doesn't want him to know like what I guess Stormfront means to him, or, that like he sort of has a weakness. So that's where I'm thinking like his tough guy, like I do think he's like, it's a front in some ways. I guess I'm not trying to like pin him down to like, is he just an evil guy or whatever? I think they're all pretty complicated. But I don't know, it is interesting, like, just them two. It did seem, though, in that moment, like, maybe he also wants some answers because he didn't know about this whole Stormfront thing, what happened or something like that. Or maybe he wants to go down a rabbit hole of his own from, his history with Vought and, like, how he was, the first one. I don't know. I feel like maybe there's something just more to that, but I don't think it was because he cared about Homelander.
I wonder if Stormfront's fate will come up.
Yeah, because remember he asked, did you find your body? So I think he's like somehow hoping that she's alive or something, and needs to go down this journey.
I think you're right. A big element of Soldier Boy, like someone in a recent episode said that he was actually the son of a very rich guy, and his brother was actually a war hero, and that he was just put to the front of the line because his dad bought him a spot for the V testing, and he was only heroic in anyone's eyes because he was unbeatable. which is different than actually being killable and still
Yes.
going to war. So maybe the extreme macho type front is just ingrained in him. But there's also an element of, I don't know if it's streetwise knowing how to fight or what, because anticipating Mr. Marathon's tactics and then just casually placing the celebrities in his path.
Yeah.
So it's like we revisit the idea of a speedster pulping a person in the first episode by A-Train purposefully not hitting a standard human while he's running. But here they bring it back.
Yeah.
With like what? It was like 5, it was like 6 maybe?
Yeah.
People
Oh,
that
it was so good. Yeah.
Craig Robinson just coming out of the bathroom.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I think him doing that lets us know that there's still, he has complicated feelings for certain people, but overall his value for human life is pretty low.
Yeah, and I guess like these people, especially like this group, like he didn't care about any of them, like Soldier Boy, I mean. So I guess for him, if this is going to get him some cred with Homelander and, make up for like the fact that you put him in that radiation, in that, was it the uranium thing or whatever? Maybe he's like, this is, I'll just kill these people. Cause like, who cares? Like he doesn't care about them. So I think like, he's never going to be good in that sense. Cause he's willing to kill people and he does not like, oh no, I killed someone, like,
no. Yeah.
But I think he does have this sort of, I think maybe like fucked up morale in some ways, right? For certain things. I think I'm trying to compare it with like, normal soups or something. And then I'm just like, no, he's like, it's not that kind of character any way. But I do think, I don't know if it's just more about like what he wants, not necessarily like trying to save anyone for the good, right? But it's like he just doesn't want Homelander to succeed, so he's like, I need to write. Maybe he thinks I'm the only one, like he said, this is my weirdo, and maybe also in that sense he didn't say it, but it's like my weirdo to kill, like.
And with the Sister Sage stuff, I wonder if he knows,
they caught on.
Yeah, that she's trying to manipulate him, but he wants to do that stuff anyway, so kind of works out for him, but as just kind of getting extra information that he needed to do what he wanted to do anyway, but he still knows that he's being manipulated. Do you think that's true?
I think so, because she threw out that thing about Stan Edgar, and then kind of she's been throwing out those little like tidbits, and then he's catching what she's throwing, and so I feel like they're kind of in cahoots without being like saying they're in cahoots, because they both are like, they have this secret agenda and they're just smart enough to kind of hide it well. Well, she is apparently the smartest, but she's trying to get to Ashley and like ask her like, the back Ashley, because she doesn't know where Soldier Boy stands, but like she keeps tossing out these little things. I wonder if those are like just tests for her, like how is he gonna react, So I wonder what she would make of this, because if someone says what he just did for Homelander, wouldn't you take that as like, oh, he saved Homelander? Because the only thing that Sage doesn't know right now is those the subtle nods that we've been seeing when Stormfront gets brought up. Like if she doesn't know that part yet about Soldier Boy.
Yeah. And I don't think she does. At least that hasn't come up yet in a way that would reveal it to us. But, she reads a lot. It's her ambition to just read.
But this is the stuff that wouldn't have been in the book, in any history.
That's true. Or even in like company records.
Yeah, because if you think about the story, like if Stormfront, if she was married to that guy, then that means Soldier Boy technically couldn't have been with him. You know what I mean? So right. I feel like that's why maybe it was like a love affair kind of thing, and there's something going on with like that whole thing. Yeah.
All right. So at least it was the chase and all of that was just, it was in the tradition of the boys in the kind of the best way. It's gross, but it's still kind of done in this fun way that, just comedians being killed like that, I guess, is somehow funny. Let's move on to Firecracker and everything she went through. She was kind of building up to something happening, and it turns out that I feel like sold out completely. I was thinking that there was this conflict in her of not wanting to accept Homelander as God because she had such a deep faith in traditional Christian type God. But what she described was sort of actually buying in. Or was she just trying to save her skin at the last moment there and on the TV show? But I think, like, when she read the lines on the teleprompter that suggested that the reverend that she had just had lunch with was actually a child groomer, right? Mm-hmm. That was her basically selling out, even though she was crying about it. That was her showing her devotion to this idea of Homelander the God.
Yeah, because I was thinking, like many people, like how they've had trouble, they've been talking about it at the marketing meetings, like they've been having, this is a hard sell for people to kind of believe Homelander is God. It's like kind of one of those things. So I feel like, which I kind of like, we're not getting like the reactions from the people, like we're not getting any of that, which I think is kind of true superhero movie-ish. We never get the regular reaction from crowds. There has been some in the past, but like in this season, it doesn't seem to be like, we're only getting it from like the perspective of the Supes.
Yeah, you're right.
And so I feel like Firecracker is that perspective of like, she so devoted to, religion and God. And then we see this background story of like the pastor. And so we know that it wasn't just a front, because she even goes like, she's like hiding out, and she's very different with the pastor, like her demeanor. She's not Firecracker like at all, just kind of normal and like feels for him. And so you get a sense of like, she really believed in that, and this is really kind of like breaking her. So then when she was on, there was a moment where she was reading those lines, and I was like, is she going to turn, like, is she going to like go against Homelander because this is too much? But it wasn't. And she reads them anyways. I thought it was just a front to like not get killed, by Homelander. But then her doing that, I think like she really wants it to be true. And I think she really did have devotion to Homelander and was willing to even give up her like devotion to how she said Jesus and the Lord. Like when she was with Soldier Boy in bed, she's like, I don't know where I can find, space between my heart. But for Homelander, amongst like the gods. Yeah, but I think she was going to double down. And we realize it's not just because she doesn't want to get killed.
I don't think it is, because she wasn't counting on getting killed, and he basically gave her a chance to walk out scot-free. Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't do this often, but he respected her, I guess, in some way.
In some way, yeah. Like for maybe the devotion she had shown, she was going to get to walk out the front door there for 10 seconds before she started trying to convince him otherwise.
It's funny because it's like we sometimes Homelander's interacting with people who are really afraid of him or whatever, and it was funny to see him in like a social setting with the celebrities, and how and also when like Seth Rogen or something, he's talking to him and he's like, just stop fucking talking to me, like, he was just like, he was so annoyed. Like you can tell like, oh, he really wants to be by himself, like he wants love of people, but you have to like be around people to get the love of people. So it's such a contradiction, which is funny. But she just kept going on and really wanted, and if she had just stopped and like left, she would have been fine, because he just gets annoyed by people. Maybe he thought, okay, you're doing it too much, like, like this is going to be a liability, or like you're gonna, maybe she was talking about love, and so maybe he was like, everything that, maybe he got too much, like just bringing up that was like too much for him to deal with, because he doesn't want to deal with those like kind of mushy feelings, or it's just so from his past and everything, and not having love. I think he was just like, no, I don't want to deal with this. So bam.
Or yeah. Or hollow sounding excuses, maybe.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because I guess it was her hesitation about the accepting him as God, Lord, whatever the terminology of the week is, was read as disloyal. And even her dealing with the Reverend and all that. But you're right. It was just like he was tired of the noise. I mean, I've seen some suggestion that him killing her is suggesting that he's off the religion angle, but I don't think that's true.
No, yeah.
I think he's really enamored with this. If you can live forever and be as powerful as he is, then you are equal to a god as far as the rest of humanity is concerned. And he's thrilled with seeing that through.
Also, I mean, the fact that we just talked about her devotion, and everything that he's been trying to do this season is to get basically the whole world to feel the way she does, and she told him everything that he wanted to hear, and that what the goal is with this whole God thing, right? Like she's like, I have loved you no matter what. no matter what you do, even like you make me do all this stuff. And he realized that what she was saying is true, like in that sense, like kind of that unconditional love that he wants, and even willing to give up her God for him and call him God. I've heard someone say the thing of like, oh, I've always like, you know, when you kind of get what you want but realize that's not what you wanted.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was at one of his moments where he was like, oh, if people are going to be like, you know, he doesn't like that kind of but that's what he's asking for, right? He wants this devotion, but then when he was face to face with someone who is 100% devoted, like he didn't want it.
Yeah, that's a reasonable idea to put a pin in and wonder about, because it's been the case the whole time, right? He needs a certain kind of adoration, and just flat out expressing your love for him is not it, apparently. We know that he has some, not affection, but at least respect for Butcher, and Butcher's devotion to pursuing Homelander and all the things that he's undergone to do that. I think that was a legitimate comment that he made in that episode about that. And really, that's kind of a twisted bar to hold everyone else up to if he is, because he doesn't actually want a world full of adversaries.
Yeah.
It's weird because he's not that smart, you don't think, but he is emotionally as complicated as any character I've seen.
Yeah. But also, I guess it's one of those things where, you know, how sometimes there are people who, like, you know, they kind of like everything you say is like just amazing or like great, or, you know, like sometimes it's like the guy who likes you, the girl who likes you, and like everything is so good. I had this one time in high school, and it was almost where like, it was like, technically, you know, you say all those things where people were asking you, like, what do you want in this, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, someone who's nice, blah, 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 all this stuff. But then, like, when I came face to face with that, it was almost too much, you know, like, and it was like, I needed that little bit of like, like, you know, I was like, I know, like, in some ways you want to think everything you say is great, or you're the most amazing person, or whatever, blah, blah. But like, when you get that 100% of the time, also, it's not really great, because you're like, there's nothing to kind of battle against. And I think that's the difference here, is like, she was being too much in that sense. And then with Billy, he is like focused on Homelander, but also gives him that tension, you know? And I feel like that, I don't know, it's one of those weird things that makes no sense on paper, because if you want someone to love you, you would think it would mean like showering you with all this stuff, but then you sort of need that like opposition a bit. Like it needs to be like 95% of the time, not like 100. So I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like, I just thought about like that compared, because I remember it's like, yeah, it's not getting all those compliments all at once. It's not, I don't know. It's weird. I can kind of see where Homelander was like, oh, this is like weird, you know, like even though he's asking for that. But then I think he prefer maybe like the Billy of it all, except for the killing, like him wanting to hunt him down. But I think he likes that.
I think that's legit. Because we know it's a nuanced kind of adoration that he wants. It's not just fangirling over him. It is total devotion, but not what Firecracker did.
Yeah, and it's weird because we did talk about in the other episodes where there's the forced adoration that he's getting from people. And at first we thought, well, that's not what he wants, because obviously that's forced and people are scared of him, right?
Yeah.
But in this one, she's not scared of him, she says. So I guess we could read like the other times she was just really battling like maybe what she was having to do for him, right? But still, like, I guess she was battling her own like stuff and being like, no. And then if we're taking her at her word up in this episode, it was just because she really loved him and wanted, you know, believed in him, that stuff. So we have seen him get the forced adoration that he doesn't like, and then get the true, like 100% follow him, whatever he wants me to do adoration. And he didn't like that either. So it's like, what do you want?
Did you watch this one once or twice?
Once.
I watched it twice. And since I knew what was coming at the end of Firecracker's life, I noticed that just before that moment, there's this odd two-shot that they use where Homelander's sort of in the middle of the screen and Firecracker is approaching from the right side of the screen. And then that big brass eagle is in the left part of the screen, not just like sticking a wing in. It's like most of the bird is there. And, you know, compositionally, it's not a great shot.
Yeah.
But
it needed to be there for what happened.
Yeah, it makes total sense in the context of the whole scene. it is a good shot, but by itself, you'd be like, did you do that on purpose? But yeah, so being killed by the symbol of America while arguing with America's savior that you love him, that's a lot of irony.
Mm-hmm. You know, honestly, I don't think he knows what he wants. I think it makes sense why he likes Billy in a way, because it's one of those things too where like if everyone loves you and you're whatever, like there's not going to be anything to do. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Unlike Sage, who's like, I want everyone to leave because I just want to do what I want to do. But we know like he alone with his thoughts is not good, right? So like I think he wants this opposition. You know, I think he wants it to always be focused on him, though, maybe good or bad. And in this case, Billy's always thinking about him, and he likes that. It's like a challenge, you know? It's like an equal challenge.
That's interesting.
And I think that's why he likes Soldier Boy, too, because he didn't try to kill him after what he did to him in the thing. And I know it's like the father-son dynamic, but I also think he also is a challenge for him. I think he would prefer his adoration, but I don't know, because he seems to, like, not mind it.
Remember Stan had that line about you're desperate to find a daddy? Is that what he finds? Or says or something like that? I don't know. I don't think he's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of Sage, we had been suspecting that she had a big plan, and she tells it to back Ashley, both Ashleys actually, during this scene where she's trying to get Ashley, both of them, on her side to manipulate things the way that would help her plan come to fruition. And her plan had, 2 phases? Phase 1 was the virus coming out.
And that the Supes think that the humans did it.
So then they'll start killing humans just haphazardly, and then humans will be like, I don't think so, and they'll fight back. And that will take out most people on the planet. That's all phase 2. And then she will be able to just ride it out in her bunker outside Colorado Springs, apparently, and read. Did you catch the Twilight Zone reference to that?
No, what is that?
You know how Twilight Zone has like 1 million episodes and like maybe 5 or 6 classic episodes?
Is this one of those?
It's one of the classic episodes, yeah.
Did someone just want to read all night or like take
They
out?
did.
Oh, okay.
And they get trapped in I think it's a bank vault, and they manage to get out. And when they get out, the whole city around them is just leveled, like a nuclear blast has gone by and wiped out everything and everybody, just piles of rubble everywhere except for this bank vault he was in. And he says, time enough to read at last. And he's just so happy, and I forget what he does, but his glasses fall off of his face and he steps on his glasses.
Oh.
So now he has the time, but he can't read.
Oh. But I mean, wouldn't there have been like he could go find sunglasses somewhere?
Yeah, probably, but it would be a real hassle because they showed on the camera like the level of blur that he was, having to cope with. And
oh, so he wouldn't even be able to go find the glasses because he can't freaking see. Oh my God.
Yeah.
He was going to have to like get a little piece of glass and try to look through it, like squint with that one.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So the reading and the bunker make it seem very connected to that. So do you suppose there's sort of like a breaking Sage's glasses type thing that could happen if that eventuality comes to? I don't think it'll get that far, but, what could even be the breaking of her glasses, metaphorically?
Oof. I mean, you know how like when they give away the whole thing, do you think that's it though? Do you think that really is it? Or that she was just saying that there would be no reason for her to say all that. It was pretty damning to Ashley. And the fact that she trusted back Ashley and Ashley to like not say anything, I guess she thinks like, because if Ashley says anything, she'll probably like try to outsmart her with Homelander or something like that.
Well, and back Ashley is not given a lot of respect by main Ashley. And here's someone saying, will you help me? I need your help. Above all people, you are the one that can help me. She's like, yes, I will be that back Ashley for you.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't think there could be anything maybe that could break Sage's thing. Although I do think it's just, I think by involving someone else in her plan, that always just is.
Oh, I forgot that aspect. She invited Ashley to the bunker.
I mean, Ashley's pretty smart in the way that she saves herself. I mean, she's lasted this long, and like not many people from, like that inner circle has lasted. So I think like she won't be dumb enough to kind of like go and tell Homelander right away. But I think just by involving another person, obviously someone else knows the plan. And what if like in bed she tells Oh Father, and then maybe that's the reason why they had that scene with Oh Father and Firecracker, because we learned that Oh Father is a freaking like he's gonna save himself too.
That scene is, I think, showing us that Firecracker has been replaced. You know,
Yes.
like he was co-running that meeting at the beginning of the episode, and then he's the one dropping off the milk, which used to be her job in a different kind of way, but same thing. And yeah, he seems to be usurping her entire role. Maybe that was another thing about killing her. That was like, well,
The signs were there.
Yeah, I've got somebody that'll do what you do better. Like the Fox News aspect of your thing was fun, but the evangelical pipes of Oh Father are really where it's at for me right now.
Yeah, she was replaceable.
Mm-hmm.
He just needs a certain level, and then I think it really showed in this episode that he just gets annoyed by people. Like I feel like Sage's plan probably sounds good to him, although Sage doesn't need adoration, you know. So that's the thing.
There is a certain madness to her plan, though, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it did come off a little crazy to me. Kill everybody. So
well, not everybody, because she's going to keep Ashley, so that's weird.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly,
right.
Supposedly, yeah. Because obviously, like, if I was the person like Ashley and back Ashley hearing that, I'd be like, oh, I'm the chosen one. But I'd be like, how do I know she's not going to kill me? Because then she kind of said it also. It wasn't like if she was part of the plan to be part of the bunker, she would have been in cahoots from the beginning. It was more like, oh, and by the way, you're invited too. Like, it was one of those things where, you know, someone hears about a party you were talking about, and then you have to be like, oh,
a pity invite.
Yes. So that makes me think like she's not really invited. Or she'll probably think that, I mean, in this whole war, she'll probably, you know, maybe she's hoping that Ashley's like gonna get killed too. So she doesn't really have to kind of like promise on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the virus comes out, it'd be very interesting if they needed her to actually accelerate the virus production because she cured cancer when she was a child, so she has some knowledge in this area. Perhaps she might be able to do something that Samir and Frenchie can't do.
But I think now that we know that there's a bunker and everything like, or supposedly a bunker, right? That's what she's been doing. But do you think that she knows where the V1 is? Because if she is saying like, I don't want Homelander to get the V1, do you think she already knows where it is and she was just kind of leading? No? No,
I don't. I think that's why she keeps enticing Soldier Boy to go with him. It's because Soldier Boy has at least that one, in that one topic, they are allies, is they don't want Homelander to get it. But I don't think she knows where it is. She thought Fort Harmony was as good a guess as any other place. Otherwise, she would have told Soldier Boy, don't waste your time.
Do you think why she is so open to Bad Ashley and Ashley? Do you like, because this is a crazy thing for her to tell someone, basically saying like, I don't want Homelander to get V1. You know what I mean? Like, if he were to find out, she'd be done.
I think she needs Ashley to play her role vice presidentially, knowing that there's a bigger plan that will save her if she plays ball, supposedly. And she needs back Ashley because, as we questioned last episode, she is a little psychic. And so she can maybe pick up Soldier Boy's inner thoughts. Maybe. I don't really think the extent of her powers are that deep, but I don't know that because I haven't really seen her do too much. And the way that she delivers the information is teasing and taunting to regular Ashley. So she would need to kind of discipline herself.
Yeah.
to be very useful as a plant.
Yeah.
All right. So that pretty well covers Sage, I think. There were several other characters, though. It was interesting to see Black Noir. It's so funny. His name is Black Noir. And recalling that he was hired because of his three things. He had the right powers, he was black, and he was an actor. And so he could act as the original Noir had acted.
Yeah, that was funny. I thought that was a little meta, but I feel like this episode is just like all of that.
I mean, the whole scene with Adam, the director of the Rise of the 7 plus the play about the Bee Gees. So funny.
Yeah.
Like, there has been a few biopics of like influential singers of late: Elton John, Michael Jackson, Freddie Mercury, Bob Dylan,
Michael
Bruce
Jackson.
Springsteen. Yeah, so all these big time singers have had their moment. and the writers thought that it was the Bee Gees' time now. So funny.
Yeah.
But still, I think the end result there, where Deep basically still has the upper hand on him, because now he has something to hang over Noir so that he doesn't keep trying to act smart with Homelander. He spoke in front of Old Father, and he sold the idea of the faith healing.
Yeah, that was a good idea.
It kind of was, yeah. But all the rest of it, he needs Noir to stay tight-lipped. And now he has something to hang over him. And I was kind of surprised that Noir backed down when he made the threat.
Well, I think it makes sense. He knows that Deep does have that thing on him. So I feel like for now, maybe he'll back down, especially what happened to Adam. Such a gruesome way. So maybe he's like, let me just go backwards and hold for a little bit. And then, I don't know, I feel like it's just setting it up for them to really have some sort of battle at the end. And then, like, Noir's just going to, like, kill him in rage.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they will be each other's boss battle at the end.
Yeah. Because I feel like they're in a completely different show. Like, they're there, but it's, like, to be honest, this was just another little bit of filler. Like, it doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Back at Erie, Pennsylvania, in the elementary school, there were a couple scenes through the eyes of Terror, the bulldog. I don't know that dogs dream of having sex with humans. I don't know that that's a true thing. I kind of doubt it, actually. But, I mean, it's funny. But through his perspective, we got to see a couple of things happen. We got the discussions between MM and Billy, and also Billy and Huey. Two very character-driven kind of scenes with MM. Man, he was fighting for so long to be a part of his family's life. And here he says, they're better without me and I'm better without them. And I think he means it.
Yeah. It's weird because in some ways other shows have done this sort of format or a version of it. And sometimes it feels like a filler, right? And it's weird because I was just going to say, this feels like a filler episode, but filler episodes are usually like, it advances the plot like a little, well, I guess it does kind of fit that bill, but we got so much of those nuances, like we did get answered. It didn't feel like a wasted episode. I think it just like the vibes feel like a filler episode. But if you especially with like the MM and the boy, even like that seemed like, oh, they're just kind of being silly through Terror's eyes or whatever, like that sort of perspective. But we got real insight in a way, like, I guess the regular episode it would have been too much, like too pointed. So it was nice to kind of come in and see it from this way. But yeah, we had been asking about, you had brought up the germ thing. And even Billy was like, whoa, like his chocolate bar falls on the floor and he eats it. He's like, oh, 5 seconds. And he's like, oh, wow.
Right.
He's like, and then he goes into the spiel of like, I just don't care because he's like, why should I keep going? He's like, because it's one of those things where, people can come at it from different angles when for him, they tried to kill Homelander. It didn't work. So he's like, well, fuck. Like, he's like, I'm going to die. Like, we're all going to die. And and instead of being like, go down a different spiral, he's gone this other way of like, he's free in a way. It is sort of, sometimes when you realize that and you're like, you know what, like, we all are going to die, so who cares about the project I have due tomorrow? It feels like something like that, like I think we all have sort of maybe those thoughts. I've had like that one time, like, where it's like, you're so stressed about something, and he talks about that too. He's like, I was so stressed about being alive that I'm giving up. Like, but he's not like sad. Like, it doesn't seem like he's like depressed or going to sleep, but I feel like just so sad. And even Billy, like, he's okay with him doing that, like with himself doing that. But I think it did affect him when he realized, he was not this person. Seeing MM like that kind of fall 180 is like, I think he was even like, oh, that's bad.
Well, so he has, I don't know if they're friends, but at least a longtime associate saying that he's already dead. So it doesn't matter. And then having to argue with Huey about 2 more teammates' deaths that are almost certain if the virus is deployed. So then that's 3 of them that are like MM saying he'll basically find a way to to die.
Yeah.
And I don't think Billy plans on making it. So that's a lot to, I mean, yes, he's already done the math. He's fine with saying that he's willing to make these sacrifices to save the rest of the world. But now it's kind of putting a face on it, like you mentioned. And so even though they were little moments, say Kimiko letting Frenchie feel proud for making a steak, but then not eating it because that's not the way she likes it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very human moment, Yeah,
because we don't see them in this way. We always see them when it's like the big things. They never get to be they never get to have these like the mundane moments. In the mundane moment, there's a lot that it can be revealed, like we just saw. Well,
and in an emergency, and a dog eating chocolate is something you need to act on right away.
I know. I saw that. I saw Frenchie throw it, and I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "If they kill Tara, I am out."
Right. Yeah, but they did, and it worked, and the dog survived, and everything's okay. But all these reminders, I guess, to both the audience and to Billy that these are good people that are going to be affected by all this. So he alters the deal. He says, okay, you can have a portion of the V1 if we find it, but as soon as Frenchie's ready, I'm going.
Yeah.
So that's, fair warning. But at least that's something. He didn't say that before.
It's funny because like they had this sort of, I guess, not downtime. Like, they're kind of figuring out what to do, right? Like trying to find bomb site or whatever. But it was a moment where, it's sort of like when you have a goal in mind, like Billy's had this goal in mind and he's just trying to get to it. He hasn't had a time to like really breathe, like all these surroundings of like how you said it's going to affect people. And even when Huey's like, well, what if it was Becca? And he's like, well, Becca's already dead, but then I think, and it was funny that it was Tara, because I think dogs are so pure in the sense of like, they depend on us and they love you so much. And I felt it was, I know it's a little cheesy, but it was fitting because that was what it took. Like, we think like he doesn't have anybody, but he had Tara to kind of remind him of his humanity. And also Huey seeing him, making sure he was okay. And he was like, oh, Billy's still in there, because I think
we've been wondering about that.
Yeah, because they had just been so at odds, and like they were just hating on each other so much, because of their in contrast of their goals and what they want to do to get the end result of killing Homelander. But it was nice to kind of see them kind of get back on the, maybe not necessarily to where they were, but it's sort of like taking the ring to Mordor, like it's the things you have to do to get there can sometimes just alter you so much, but you're like, they're still in there. It's just, they've been through a lot. And I think that whole incident reminded them of like, oh, okay, like, yeah, we're kind of not the same people, but it's not as bad, I think, as they thought. Like Huey was like, oh, okay, he's still there. I think Huey will latch on to that moment to kind of take him through, like, if Billy's being an asshole throughout, later on.
Because there's only 6, 7, 8 left in this whole thing. So it looks like one way or another, Soldier Boy and Homelander are on the same team. And that's not great for the rest of anybody. Now, I don't know if Soldier Boy's going to let him have the V1 or not. That's probably a big moment.
That's probably a prediction. Are we making a prediction? Because, they have to go to get the V1 one way or another. Yeah.
Yes. That's.
Do you think that's the finale, or you think we get or do you think they find V1 before then?
I think they find it before then.
Game of Thrones style, episode 9, and then 10 is the...
Yeah.
episode 7.
Yeah, and then the last one is just Sage. And
reading alone.
And Ashley bathing each other. Taking turns to get the hot water from the boiler or whatever. Yeah. I think it's going to be find bomb site. Everybody gets there at the same time. There's some kind of scuffle. Meanwhile, the virus keeps cooking. I mean, Frenchie said it would take weeks. I don't get the sense that weeks have passed. It's hard to tell, actually, from this episode, just how long has passed.
Yeah, I feel like it's only been a few days.
Like you said, there's downtime, which is unusual for the boys, but Frenchie has enough time to try to make a souffle. It's funny because it feels like all of a sudden, like, we have 2 weeks,
usually in the other episodes it would have been like, okay, Frenchie's got it. It's been 2 weeks. Like, but the fact that they're dragging it out feels funny.
I think it's going to be a little like Fort Harmony. They're both going to arrive pretty close to the same time. I think the boys will get there first, but the 7 can travel so much faster that they can catch up once they figure it out. Aside from that, I mean, there's so many spaghetti noodles of threads that can spill out of there. Could there be Soldier Boy and Homelander on the same page? Could there be a Soldier Boy betrayal? Could there be some other character deaths? All these things are pretty plausible in there. Do you have any specific predictions?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still hoping that one of those episodes, whenever we do get to maybe Bombsite and like the V1, that there still is sort of this flashback episode to what happened between Soldier Boy and Stormfront during the Vought days of V1.
Yeah, and Quinn, whoever Quinn was.
And so I hope that's true. Maybe it's not a whole episode of a flashback, but maybe just sort of like they do a moment, you know, of like kind of a history thing. Or if Stormfront is somehow alive, then maybe it's not going to be a flashback and it'll be sort of like a, they just talk about it.
Is it confirmed that she's dead?
I don't know. I can't remember. So maybe I'm like, I can't remember how she died again.
She's probably dead. She bit off
That's what I thought.
Her tongue.
I remember it was very gruesome. Like it was kind of rough. So I think, well, I guess he kind of did say I think Soldier Boy just wants it to be like, oh, did you do this? And then I think he was like, yeah, she's dead.
Yeah, but I think there's a chance that she's not. I think there's a chance that it just took a long time to regenerate because of the extent of her injuries. Because it was essentially kind of a off-screen sort of thing where we were told that she was dead.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because she was too crazy about being a Nazi, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not buying what you're selling." Yeah, and then she just kind of like, "Oh, okay," like she like lost the will. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so like coming back to me. Yeah, that's why I have it in my head that she may not be dead. Right? Like there's her head wasn't like cut off or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. They keep bringing it up, and like the Soldier Boy connection. I just feel like it could be that she's alive.
I agree. And I like I still like your flashback idea, that semi backdoor pilot for the other show, Vought Rising, would be really interesting and fill in some context that they've added this season that would be interesting to know. The background, whatever that relationship was with Stormfront. I mean, we can guess quite a bit of it, but it'd be still kind of interesting to see what it was, because he is such a weird guy. He flaunts these bizarre relationships that, on the one hand, it's weird because he always mentions like a celebrity or something, but on the other hand, they're kind of weird celebrities.
Yeah. It's almost like it's not real, right? Like he's just like saying like these things. But then like him hooking up with Firecracker, I'm like, yeah, it's probably true. Like he's just, but it also feels like he's doing all these things because, the love of his life didn't work out, and then where you just go and do whatever you want because you're trying to like get past that. It seems like he's not past it no matter how long it's been. Or that's what I'm thinking. It just seems like the telltale signs of all that sort of storyline. Yeah, I feel like maybe in the next episode, now that they've sort of had the lull time, it's either going to fast forward to the 2 weeks where the virus is ready and they're going to get going. They're going to go try to find Bombsite. Both of them are going to have leads. And then that's going to maybe be like the 6, 7, 8, kind of thing. So, I mean, the last episode, the finale needs to be, maybe will have the V1 and then like how it's going to play out or something like that. So
that one needs to show basically the climax of the whole thing and some amount of resolution, like where the survivors end up, what the world is like after whatever happens. But I still think that finding V1 is like the main thing, and that may happen next episode, or in one of the next 2 episodes they find it. There's probably some scuffle there. And meanwhile, they're still cooking up the virus. And so then the showdown happens in the final episode, but still there's a lot of details to iron out there that the show can reveal for us, or twist, because that seems to be their specialty, is finding things that you don't expect and sticking them in the story.
I was curious because I didn't look it up when I thought maybe Jared Padalecki was going to be Bombsite, but I was curious if they listed an actor for Bombsite on IMDb, And they have, if this is correct, because sometimes people can add it, but IMDb is supposed to verify, blah, blah, blah. So it's like a young guy, Mason Dye, who was in Teen Wolf and these other, in season 4 of Stranger Things. So he's like he was born in 1990. So it's not like an older, I was imagining, I don't know why, I was just imagining an older character for Bombsight. So that's interesting that he's like kind of a younger version, younger.
Maybe he got it very young, so it just arrested his development right there.
Because he's one of the original, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same as Soldier Boy, where they like freeze in time, like they're not aging.
Yeah, I think that's it. Anyhow, I think that does it for this week's podcast. If you like this discussion, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to it on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you found it. Please leave us a rating and a review so that other people will be able to find the podcast in the future. Thanks a lot.
Clubhouse.